Hey, and welcome to the Meditations and Musings podcast. I'm Elena Lipson. I'm a mama, I'm a wife, and I'm the founder of the Divine Self-Care Circle membership and the Virtual Retreat Academy. I don't believe that you have to sacrifice your body, your health, or your family in order to create true abundance and prosperity. I believe in living based on the divine feminine metrics of success, and these include pleasure, play, ease, grace, and a slower pace. Each week, I'll bring you 1 to 2 new episodes. One of these will be a guided meditation that you don't have to do on the meditation pillow, and the other will be a conversation to help you access your inner wisdom, to ignite abundance, and inspire others to do the same. I invite you to join me on this journey back to the magic of a divinely aligned and well cared for you. And now, join me for today's episode. Hello and welcome to the Meditations and Musings podcast. Feeling very playful today as I just shared exactly where I record my podcast. So if you are not on Instagram, if you're not following me on Instagram, Elena_Lipson, head on over and check out my Instagram stories because I just shared the top secret location of my podcast studio, and I think it's pretty damn funny. So head on over there and leave a comment, leave me a message. Let me know what you think of my fabulous podcast studio. Okay, so welcome to today's episode. Today is a musing of the Meditations and Musings, and today we're talking about trusting your pace. It's one of the key feminine metrics of success that you heard me mention in the intro to the podcast, along with pleasure, play, ease, and grace. Trusting your pace is probably the most empowering, but it's also one of the most difficult to do. And we're going to get into exactly why that is. And I'm going to give you 5 simple remedies and ways to trust your pace even more than you might already be doing. And if you're not doing it, then I'm going to give you the 5 ways to start trusting your pace and then what you need to release in order to do that. But before we get started, I wanted to do 2 things. One is thank you so much for all of the sweet reviews coming in for this podcast. If you haven't left a review yet, I would be so grateful if you just scroll down to the bottom of the episode page and click write a review. It takes about 20 to 60 seconds, depending on how much you want to write. But I want to read the latest 2 that just came in. And one is by Gabriella, and she calls it empowering. And she says, Elena offers practical tips and mystical insight on ways to live a fuller, feminine, divine, intentional life. And her meditations help you to hear your own voice to begin the creation process. Yes, exactly. I love it. She knows me so well. And the second one is a big thank you to Carrie, who says, nourishing and uplifting. I love Elena's meditations and her musings. How wonderful and generous she offers them to us all here. She really is a great role model for women and men in the modern world, reminding us to slow down and take care of ourselves while shining more brightly. Yes, thank you so much for seeing me, for acknowledging my work, and I am so grateful because, I could not do this without you. Otherwise, it would just be me talking into the microphone, blah, 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 blah. But the fact that you're there, leaving reviews, sharing that you're enjoying this conversation, and what do you want to hear more? Tell me, message me on Instagram, message me on Facebook. Let me know. What do you want to hear more of? Are there specific kinds of meditations that you would find really useful and valuable? So let me know. I'd love to hear your feedback. And the second thing I want to do before we dive into trusting your pace and all the magic that can come from trusting your pace is just to give a shout out to my signature program and the sponsor of this podcast. It's 66 Sacred Rituals. Hundreds of people have gone through this program to find meaning, to get aligned each day, and to add a dash of magic to their lives. 66 Sacred Rituals is an audio journey, a daily audio ritual that helps you to tap into a very simple ritual that addresses your mind, body, or spirit. And the cool thing is, once you purchase the program, it is yours for a lifetime. I have many clients who literally do them over and over every 66 days as their own personal ritual cycle. It's really powerful. If you want to just check out one of my free rituals, head on over to elenalipson.com/66 days. And on that page, you will find a message from me, a sample ritual called the Chakra Shower Meditation, and a link to sign up. But before you do that, make sure you use your special bonus gift coupon code for being a loyal listener to this podcast. And the coupon code is simply podcast. Doesn't matter if it's uppercase or lowercase. So if you check out, make sure that where it says coupon code, enter the word podcast to receive $10 off. If you have any questions, definitely let us know. All right, let's go ahead and dive on into trusting your pace, one of my feminine metrics of success. Not only an outcome of a feminine metric of success, but it is the way you get to your own version of success. So what does it mean to trust your pace? I know you hear a lot of words about trusting and keeping pace, but maybe you think about pace as something that applies to physicality or running or walking. Can you keep pace? Which is actually a beautiful metaphor. When you are, say, going for a walk in nature, if you're walking with someone who's like a marathon runner and they just want to go really, really fast, and you're forced to keep up with them, you are not enjoying the view at all. You actually might not be enjoying the walk at all because you're being forced, kind of like when you're a little kid and your parents walk so fast that you have to almost run to keep up. And all of your energy actually goes to just running and keeping up with that person instead of looking around and enjoying the view, tapping into your body, actually being able to really lean into the moment and listen to your own thoughts and observations and reflections. And the same thing goes when someone you want to walk with does not keep up with you and they're going a little slower than you, and you want to maybe go a little faster to get a good heart pace going. And you are constantly having to adjust and slow down because someone is saying, oh, you're going too fast. So that it doesn't feel comfortable either. And this metaphor applies to truly almost anything in your life. And I know a lot of you are entrepreneurs or you are wanting to start your own thing, even if it's a creative project, that you might be looking around and seeing others doing things and creating things and succeeding in ways that you want to. And you feel like you might be a little behind, or you are not where you're really wanting to be, or maybe they're so far ahead of you that you have no idea how you're ever going to get there. So first and foremost, I want to just give you permission to allow yourself to trust that your pace is exactly what it is because of your life circumstances, your physical circumstances, your emotional and spiritual circumstances. And the only way you can adjust, speed up, slow down, whatever you need to, is by first of all accepting and acknowledging that this is where you are. Now, I can look at someone like Oprah Winfrey and decide, oh my gosh, she's got so much, a magazine and shows, and she travels and she's got all these companies, and oh my gosh, and that's what I want too. But then I look at my own life and I say, oh my gosh, we're homeschooling our son, and I've got a partnership, and I've got a husband, I've got, all these things that are stopping me from getting to where Oprah Winfrey is. Well, guess what? A couple of things. First of all, I'm not Oprah Winfrey. I am me, and I have my own visions and my own ideas. But if I constantly compare myself to someone else, I'm always going to come up short because my life is my life. My circumstances and choices are mine to own and claim. And the more I compare myself, the more I will look at my own life with less than, with scarcity, with doubt, with resentment. That is not a place of creation, right? Now, there might be things you want to change about your life, and that's okay. We all do. But resentment, self-doubt, pity, and that anger that comes up is not a place to create change from. So first and foremost, it's about acknowledging where you are in your life, whether you're a mom of young children, whether you're in a place where you're just starting your business, you're just growing it. There's going to be circumstances that make your situation unique to you. And the more you can get out of comparison mode, the better. So let's look at 5 ways that you can really allow yourself to trust your pace, whatever it is at this moment in time. First and foremost is releasing the need for external approval. and comparison. Release the need for external approval and comparison. The sooner you can do that, the sooner you can decide, you know what? I am not a kid in school looking for a star on my paper. I don't need someone to pat me on my back to tell me I'm doing a great job. I can give myself the permission to be proud of myself for the things that I'm doing, however small those steps might be. So first and foremost, I want you to at least acknowledge the fact that you can release the need for external approval and comparison and decide that you are the only one that you need approval from. And the way you do that is you take time to really create a clear vision for yourself and your life. What do you want? What does success mean to you? If you automatically adopt someone else's version of success, like Oprah's or anyone else, you're going to be measuring up to something that doesn't even belong to you. You're going to be living life based on someone else's vision, someone else's desires. So if you haven't taken time lately to not just create a vision board, but to really create a vision first of what you want your life to look like today, tomorrow, a year from now, 20 years from now, then you're going to be basically sort of being like a duck, right? With the legs underwater, spinning so frantically and not really getting to where you want to be. So I want you to take some time, whether it's 5 minutes or 20 minutes. What I recommend for my clients is to go somewhere that you feel comfortable and relaxed, perhaps somewhere in nature. Take a blank journal and just sit and write at the top of the page. What is my vision of a most fulfilled life? And even if nothing comes right away, give yourself time to actually let the chatter die away. Let the noise of the monkey mind die away and just sit there and be, whether it's staring at the beach or the water or in nature or sitting on a park bench, just allow yourself enough time to sit there for the inspiration to bubble up, because it always does. If it doesn't, you haven't sat there long enough. And if you don't think your life is worth a few hours of yourself sitting there to access your own knowing, your own wisdom, then you're never really going to get to a place where you're living based on your own terms. You can give me all of the excuses you want. I get it. I've been there. I've said them. I totally have. But you are worth your own time. So go ahead and give yourself some time to really get clear on what your vision is, because from there, you can create a timeline, a plan, a strategy that reflects your life and your needs. And then even if you feel stuck or if you have some loss of momentum, you'll know that you can do what it takes because you're actually striving for something that's yours. And there's nothing more satisfying than creating a vision from your own heart, serving from your own heart, not someone else's vision, not what someone else told you that your life should be, but what you really, really want. Okay, the second way to tap into your own pace is to stop scrolling. Stop doing the Facebook scroll. I know what I hear from women all around me, my clients and in my circle, is that distraction is one of the top reasons that they don't take inspired action on their vision. Scrolling through other people's feeds, what they're doing, what they're working on, again, taps back into that first part of comparison that I was talking to. So if you can mindfully give yourself like 15 to 20 minutes to scroll through Facebook, scroll through Instagram, that's fine. But first and foremost, before any of that, give yourself the permission to spend time on your dreams. Even if you just set a 20-minute timer and take an inspired action to move your project forward, to move your vision forward. If you don't know what that is and you need to get some help, some coaching, some guidance, there's so many ways to do that. If you're trying to start a business and you don't have the funds to hire a coach immediately, I'll tell you what, there's ways to get help. There's the small business bureau in your local town or city. There's universities that have business programs where you can go and consult with someone. There's the small business bureau of most cities is incredible because it's usually retired business people who want to serve and help, and you can ask questions. There's all kinds of, if you just look up, business advice or business planning or free business consulting, you can find something. So if you're someone who wants to get advice, but you can't afford to hire a coach right now, then there's definitely places to start. And if you're going to have excuses about not having enough money, but you're not taking advantage of the free resources that are available for you, then I think you might have a little bit of like alignment work to do, because you can excuse yourself all through life. But if you have something you want to create, There's always a way to start now. Okay, number three. Number three is to spend time with yourself to see, who am I now? Who am I now? Trusting your pace. I trust that you are probably within my demographic. You're probably between the ages of, I don't know, mid to late 20s to maybe in your 60s, late 50s, somewhere in there. And if you're an outlier, awesome. I'm so glad you're here. But you're probably a woman in that age range who probably has kids. Maybe you don't. Maybe you're starting a business. But I kind of know who you are, just a little bit. And if I don't, that's okay too. I probably get the essence of why you're here, because you're interested in an aware spiritual life where you're taking really beautiful care of yourself. So the cool thing is that as we grow and evolve, we have stages that we go through. And each stage requires different type of attention and awareness and energy from us. And if you're not pausing to get to know yourself in these different phases, you might simply be operating on an old assumption. So the cool thing is you always have a chance to stop and ask yourself good questions. So one of the questions is, who am I now? And what do I need now? Because the person that I am now, the mother of a 12-year-old who's homeschooling and the partner of a man who I've been with for 18 years, we are not the same people that we were when we first started dating. We have different responsibilities. We have different desires. We have different visions of what our life is going to be in the next 5 or 10 years. And so the actions that we take now, the investments of time, energy, and money that we make now are very different than what we did 18 years ago. And so you might need just an update on your values, your core values, your goals. So ask yourself, who am I now? What do I need now? And from that place, you can decide, okay, well, this is where I am in my life right now. And how can I make the absolute optimal, best version of my life now so that I can trust my pace and not have to compare myself to others around me, right? Because if you're comparing yourself to some woman that you're seeing on Instagram who's maybe in her 20s, doesn't have kids, and is traveling around the world, and you're feeling bad that you're not doing that, well, you're comparing yourself to someone who has a very different life, number one. Number two is, if you really want to do that and it's showing you that you really want to do more travel, maybe you can ask yourself, how can I do that now my way? Not her way, my way, right? Your way. How can you add more travel to your life now or in the next few years that feels like you're actually fulfilling a part of your heart and your soul purpose that you really, really desire? Okay, that's number 4. And again, that was number 3. And number 4 is trust divine timing. Trust divine timing. So there's a little bit of this sort of trust that if there's something meant for you in this lifetime and you're working your way towards it, that it will happen. But you have to allow for the cycles and the seasons of that trust in divine timing to happen, right? So if you are in your garden and you're planting some seeds, you're not going to expect them to be full grown the next week, right? In fact, most harvesting doesn't happen until months and months later. So if you are planting the seeds of your dreams right now, can you also then allow the seasons and cycles of gestation and deliberate creation to happen? You wouldn't force that poor little seed to, break open and come through the ground earlier than it has to, just like you have a season and a cycle to your life. So if you envision yourself impacting millions and creating, a series of books or whatever it is you're creating, building a house, you're not going to start with the roof. You're going to start with the foundation. So just like anything else in your life, trusting the divine timing means trusting that you are now, by doing the small daily things that you're doing, is planting the seeds and allowing your natural unfolding to happen. Now, it does require inspired action from you. It does require risk-taking and the capacity to fail and to start over again and to get more clear, to ask for support. All those things are true. And sometimes you just have to be a little patient and give that seed a chance to do its thing. Okay? All right, number 5 in how do I trust my own pace is, you know what? It's okay to press pause and to pivot. If you're on a path and you're feeling super frustrated or stuck or overwhelmed or exhausted and you've done everything you can, it is perfectly okay to just press pause. Even if it's for an hour, for a day, or for a week, it's okay to press pause on that creative project and to really step back and ask yourself some good questions. What's working? What's not working? What's bringing me energy? What's not bringing me energy? And just to make adjustments as you go, because sometimes that little pivot away from or towards something that's not working or working better is exactly what you need. And sometimes it doesn't require a whole blank slate. You don't need to completely kill the project. Sometimes it's just deciding, you know what, some part of this is something I'm really not enjoying anymore. And maybe I can delegate it, or maybe just not do it anymore. Or maybe I can just press pause for a month and give myself a little spaciousness to really breathe into the project. So there's all sorts of things you can do instead of just feeling like you can't do this anymore because you're so tired. Maybe it's about taking some rest. Maybe it's about going back to a deeper sense of self-care because you're asking more of yourself, more energy, more attention, more time, more money. And all these investments are taking away from some part of you. So you need to replenish that, just like you would fill up the gas in your car if you're on a long journey, right? If you're just going to the store, you're not going to pack up a whole backpack of resources. But if you're going cross country, you're going to give yourself time to pack up. You're going to make stops along the way. You're going to get gas along the way. So if you're on a journey of creating something beautiful and big, don't forget, you're going to require more nourishment, more rest, more play, more of the feminine metrics that I teach. So it's totally okay if you're feeling like you are in an overwhelmed place to just press pause and go take a breath, go outside, go dance, go have coffee with a friend. You know, you don't have to power through. It's that pushing through that will continue to cultivate that feeling of hustle, that feeling of, oh my gosh, I'm not even enjoying the journey anymore. So it's totally okay to press pause and even pivot when you need to. So let's review the trusting your pace, the 5 ways to trust your pace so that you can create and unfold your life in a beautiful way that is reflective of what is most important to you. The first step is to relax and release the need for external approval and comparison. Step 2 was to stop doing the scroll, stop Facebook scrolling, stop Instagram scrolling, and instead take time to tap into your needs, your desires, your vision, okay? That leads to number 3, spend time with yourself to get to know you as you are now in this particular phase of your life. Because we as women go through phases and stages and cycles, and the vision that we had 10 years ago simply does not apply anymore. Number 4 is trust divine timing. And what I mean by that is allow yourself to plant those daily seeds of inspired action and allow them to flow in their own timing, in their own season. And number 5 is it's okay to press pause. I love the pause button. And it's okay to pivot when you need to, but you won't know exactly what the pivot is unless you actually pause and ask yourself some good questions. So I hope you found some inspiration. I hope you found some permission and some release into this metric, this feminine metric of trusting your pace. Because by trusting your pace, you are going to find that you have moments of extreme energy and creation and just doing it and creating it. And then you'll have times where you just want to lay in bed with a soft furry blanket and watching your favorite movie. And both things are perfectly okay because you are trusting your pace. You're not becoming someone who is distracting yourself from your own dreams. You're not someone who is procrastinating on taking inspired action. Instead, you become someone who is so deeply in tune with your own inner world and your own desires and your own intuitive voice and divine timing that you become someone who becomes a shining star of what's possible when you're a woman who trusts your own pace. It is empowering to the moon. This is what I wish for you. Thank you so much for being here. I'd love to hear your voice, your feedback. Please share this episode with your community, with your mastermind, with your sisters, with your friends, because I think all women who are well cared for, who trust their own pace, and who desire pleasure, play, ease, and grace as their feminine metrics, these are the women, you are the women who are going to lead, who are going to empower and inspire in the new way that we need to be led, empowered, and inspired. Blessings on your journey. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you on our next episode of the Meditations and Musings podcast. Take care. Thank you so much for listening and learning about the new divine self-care way of being in your life, business, and the bedroom based on the divine feminine metrics of success: pleasure, play, ease, grace, and a slower pace. If you're ready to bust the myth of overwhelm and tap into an inspired start to each day, I've put together a free video series for you to help you start each day with energy, inspiration, and ignite that inner pilot light which attracts joy, magic, and synchronicity. You can access my 3-step magic morning practice to help you ignite your inner light and attract the abundance that you're craving. Head on over to elenalipson.com/gift. And if you enjoyed this episode, I would so love if you share it with a friend, a sister, a mother, a daughter, and please leave a review. That is how the magic starts to ripple out. Here's wishing you a day full of beauty, magic, and divine self-care. I'll see you next time at the Meditations and Musings podcast.